Fight fans all over the world, it's Daddy P with Slap Happy Gorilla. What? Hey, Terence CRAWFORD, Errol Spence Jr., number 2, coming down the pipe. Listen, a lot of people been coming out, especially today, talking about how the time is up, the time is expired. Errol Spence didn't activate the rematch, but hey, look. From what I understand, the fight's still happening, man. Part 2. Don't know when. None of that. For the most part, everybody knows it's going to be in Vegas, man. Unless something serious come down the pipe, man. Vegas, Las Vegas is where it's at. That's where the stars come. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see that being different, but we just don't know when or none of that stuff, man. But, man, Terence CRAWFORD, Errol Spence was the most anticipated fight of probably about the last 5 years or so. And, you know, it was kind of a disappointment, a letdown for what it was. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to say a letdown, but a star was born. You know what I'm saying? Terence CRAWFORD has always been a very skillful guy. He's always been right in and up around that number 1 spot, pound for pound, because of his skills. But Terence CRAWFORD just needed the right opponent in order to show his greatness, and that's what happened. A lot of people came up with a lot of, I ain't gonna call it excuses, but some of them were concerns. Some of them was excuses now. Granted, some of them was excuses. But some of them were concerns. Some people were concerned about Errol Spence and his health. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you don't really, to me, and I'm going to tell you this, I picked Terence CRAWFORD to win, but I like Terence CRAWFORD and I like Errol Spence. I didn't pick Terence CRAWFORD to win because I'm more of a Terence CRAWFORD fan, which I am. I've been following Crawford for a longer time than I've been following Errol Spence. But I do like Errol Spence. I like what he brings to the table and the boxing game. And I'm a fan of the sport. I'm not a fanboy that's on the hype train for one guy or the other. I like boxing and I like good matchups. But the reason why I picked CRAWFORD was because of his skill set, because of his strengths, and because Errol Spence had been making 147 for basically his whole career. So it was bound to catch up with him. And this is the thing. He really didn't look that promising in the Ugas fight. You know what I'm saying? When he came back from the car accident and beat Danny Garcia, he showed you that even with not being in perfect condition, whatever, being his 100% self, he showed you that he could still beat a certain level of fighter. Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and those guys. I mean, I know he fought Sean Porter before the accident, but all of those guys, man, I'm going to tell you, are in the same class. They really, honestly, and I know I might get some backlash for this, but they like B-level fighters, man. Because they never were able to pull the trigger when it mattered most. Like to take their career to the next level, they never could pull the trigger. And you know, I've said this in past videos, but they really not top-notch A fighters for the division. You know, Sean Porter had the IBF World Championship at one time, got it took by Kell Brook. You know, same thing, Danny Garcia, he was a champion here at welterweight WBC. He's a two-weight champion, but he had the WBC. And when it was time to take his career to the next level, Keith Thurman beat him. I mean, it's just so Errol Spence was able to beat a guy like that, even compromise, and then he went and after the car accident, still he beat Ugas, you know. The thing is, those guys are nowhere near the talent or the skill set of a Terence CRAWFORD. But that's why I picked Terence CRAWFORD to win, because Errol Spence had been making 147 for a long time. And I feel like Crawford was a little more comfortable at the weight. You know what I'm saying? And, plus on top of that, his skill set. On top of that, the car wreck. All of these things to me were factors. And I look at fights when you talking about picking somebody to win. If you got a favorite fighter, by all means, yeah, ride with your guy. But to me, I'm a fan of the sport, so I look at it almost like professional gambling. Professional gamblers, they pick stuff, they pick fights or whatever they pick, a game or whatever, not based on if it's their favorite guy, their favorite team, whatever. They look at it like what's going on. If the people are favored to win by a field goal as football, they want to know how to win Gus is, on that day. You know what I'm saying? And, all of those variables come into play. Not just, oh, that's my favorite guy, Errol be walking everybody down. He go walk down Terence Crawford and beat him. You know what I'm saying? Based on what? Errol Spence is not the same guy. He been in a car wreck. Terence Crawford is not these other guys. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is the thing. It was already a blueprint to beat Danny Garcia, And if you don't believe that Lamont Peterson showed it to you, then, Keith Thurman beat him. You know what I'm saying? So it already was a blueprint to beat Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? It already was a blueprint to beat Ugas. You know what I'm saying? Those guys already had losses. So when he come back off of a car wreck and, detached retina, all that stuff, this guy, Errol Spence, is a big, strong welterweight. He was. But, he been at the weight for so long, and he been draining down to 147 for so long. So, he told you, yeah, I stay there for Terence Crawford because I want to be undisputed. But that don't mean it wasn't getting tougher for him to make the weight. I already knew that. And with all of the other health issues, man, look, that was some of the variables for me. And that's why I picked Terence Crawford to win. It got nothing to do with me being a fanboy of Terence Crawford and I want to see Errol fail. No, I like the kid. You know what I'm saying? So, being that it's a rematch, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know when it's going to be, but I really would like for it to see this fight happen in 2024. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Errol Spence took a beating and he needs to recover. And I'm going to tell you this. I said this in past videos. Errol Spence needs to work on a lot of stuff. And these are some of the things too that other guys like Danny Garcia couldn't exploit. His reaching, man. He overcommits, he reaches, and then he telegraphs some of his punches, man. You cannot fight a guy like Terence Crawford mentally. He's quick and fast. He's quick. He's a quick thinker, and he's fast as far as his movements, And then, his punches get from point A to point B in a fast manner. And in his mind, he see the punches before he punch them. And he knows how to exploit things that are repetitive. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence will do that jab, and throw that overhand left. Man, Crawford started timing that stuff and making him pay dearly for doing that, and not just, a lot of different sequences, and then when he punch and reach, when he try to go to the body, sometime when he reach, that's the first knockdown. Terence Crawford knocked him down with a jab, basically. You know what I'm saying? He already had hit him, but he came back with the jab. So, it's a lot of stuff Errol Spence need to work on, man. He cannot beat Terence Crawford like he beat them other fighters. I'ma just walk him down and break him, all that. Nah, man, that's not. And then Terence Crawford showed him that, even though Errol Spence is bigger, Terence Crawford is a strong guy. He's built from the feet up, from the legs up. You know what I'm saying? So he has a real good base. He has a sturdy base, and he generates his power from his base. You know what I'm saying? So, you got a guy like that, man. Errol Spence couldn't even push him off his square. So now people feel like, okay, 154, and that's what it sounds like. The fight is going to be held at 154. They feel like Errol is going to be a different monster. Now, that very well may be, but he still cannot use that walking down mentality and win the fight, because let's say that Errol Spence is a lot stronger and he's the stronger guy in the ring. Terence Crawford is still very skilled. He's still going to come with the same angles. He's still going to do things to take away the effective jab. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you this, like I said in a past video again, Derrick James downplayed in that first fight. Before the first fight, Derrick James downplayed the skills of Terence Crawford, and it was to his detriment. Now, this time, they understand that Terence Crawford is a different breed of fighter than they've been fighting. So you have to have a training camp that's geared specifically for beating Terence Crawford. And when I say this, I'm saying that to this. He picked that. I heard him and other channels picking that. Oh, man, Crawford, he switched. What's that? That don't mean nothing. That ain't nothing. Okay, well, this is the thing. You seen what Terence Crawford had to bring in the southpaw stance, but you have not seen any wrinkles in the orthodox stance. And, just when you think you got him figured out, hey, he messed around and switched the orthodox for a little while and kind of explore what's going on there. If he sees something that he think he can exploit, he will switch. But that's only if. He didn't have to switch at all in this fight, in the first fight. He did not have to switch because even though he was winning, his team still told him some things, some adjustments to make. Because adjustments is not just for if things aren't working. Adjustments are made when you can improve on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And Bomac was telling him certain adjustments to make, and he was winning the fight. And when he did the things that Bomac was telling him to do, it was straight on the money. And he dominated the whole fight. So, it's not just weight drain. It's not just rib injury. It's not just all that stuff, man. It's a lot of... Errol Spence was not 100% going in none of those fights after the car wreck, the car crash. And to be truthful, he probably wasn't 100% before then because he admitted he had some fat camps. Where he was partying and then had to lose weight. That's what he blamed the performance against Sean Porter on. Now, you can use an excuse when you win a fight. Now, he beat Sean Porter. So, yeah, he say, well, my performance wasn't that good. I had a fat count. I had to cut a lot of weight. Didn't train much like I really wanted to. I just was trying to get down in weight. Okay, well, you won that fight. So, yeah, I hear you. But he just letting you know at that time how serious he was taking the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing. But now, after the car crash, he admitted, hey, look, man, I take my life more serious and the sport of boxing, I take it more serious. And I believe that. I really do. But, I'm just saying that, after the car crash, he wasn't 100% in none of those fights and probably could have did better in fights before the car crash if he was taking, the game of boxing more serious. But Terence Crawford has always, man, since he came back from when he got shot, he say, man, that was an eye-opener for him, and it was a turning point for him when he was younger to say, hey man, I gotta take my life serious and boxing serious. And Terence Crawford is not a partier. You see, he don't get in all kind of crazy trouble between fights. He's a gym rat, and he's about the sport of boxing, man. And it shows in the ring. So when you get in the ring with Terence Crawford, that's what you're getting in the ring with, a pure athlete. Also, Terence Crawford is a superior athlete to him, Errol Spence is an athletic guy. He's athletic, but he's not as athletic as Crawford. And Terence Crawford, he's able to use lateral. He showed you in a couple of them rounds. He used some. The first round, he used some lateral movement. That's the only round that basically he won. I heard some people say he won round number 3. Errol Spence won round number 3. But, I mean, I guess because he came out very strong. After he got knocked down in the second round, he came back. He came out strong. If you look back at round number 3, Errol Spence came out real strong. But Crawford started countering him, and he started making some mistakes in round 3, and that's when Crawford started making him pay. Because, Terence Crawford usually, he gets started. Like, once he compute what he needs to compute, he sees what he need to see in this opponent. And he gets comfortable at the range he wants to fire from. It's around like 3 or 4 anyway, round 3 or 4. So in round number 3, that's when he really he had to knock Crawford down, Spence down, because he had seen some stuff and exploited it. But man, now he really getting the rock and roll, like the end of 3, the beginning of 4. So, if he won round 3, some people, if that's your opinion, you believe that, okay. I mean, I give you that. I personally don't think so, but at the same time, it really don't matter, But this is the thing about this rematch. Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is a gym rat, and his team, he has a plethora of people in there, and they are students of the game. So now you got Derrick James by his lonely to, get back with Errol Spence. What's going to be different? That is the thing that a lot of people, that's a question a lot of people want answered. Is this rematch necessary? How different is this fight going to be? Now, at 154, yeah, it could, to me, it could be a more competitive fight, and it could go the distance. But I'm going to tell you this, that's only if Spence took himself serious and really made some changes. If not, same thing, same fight, different weight. He will dominate Errol Spence. And part of that is because he got his number now. He's going to be a lot harder to ward off when he knows that, hey, man, I done beat the brakes off this man before. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just telling it like it is. So, but all in all, man, I'm still excited that it's going to be a rematch. I know a lot of people are. To me, it didn't matter either way. It wasn't a big deal because, like I said, I picked Crawford to win. I was surprised at the performance from both fighters in the ring, and but I feel like the score is settled. But for those of you who want to see it again, and just like Crawford said, hey man, I give Errol Spence the opportunity because he gave me an opportunity. So I know Terence Crawford is willing to honor the fight. Even though, it's a contract, but still, even beyond that, I think that Terence Crawford is grateful enough to give Spence that, opportunity. So, I don't know, but what y'all think, man, in the comment section? Hey, like, comment, subscribe. Hey, hit that like button for me, man. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time it goes down. This is Daddy P. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.